All right, today we're diving into a really cool idea. One that kind of blurs the line between what's real and what we create. It's called the co-creation theory, and it's all about the journey from being just a character in a simulation to maybe, just maybe, becoming one of its authors.
So, let's kick things off with a pretty big question for you. Are you just watching your reality happen, or are you actually helping create it? Just let that simmer in the back of your mind as we get into this.
Okay, so our story starts in a world inside of another world. We're in this picture-perfect little town, a simulated town, where one very lonely idea has been brewing for a while. See, for years, there's been this one guy, Stephen, who's been the town's quiet philosopher. He had this radical belief, one he'd share gently, but he was persistent. His idea? That their whole existence, their town, their lives, everything, was just an incredibly detailed simulation. Now, you could imagine the town was pretty split on this. Some people actually found a weird kind of comfort in his theory, this idea that there was a grand design to everything. But for a lot of others, it was just nonsense, fanciful speculation. They preferred the solid ground they could feel, the reality they could see and touch. But then, just when everything felt completely normal and predictable, something happened. The whole town started to experience this new shared phenomenon, the mystery of the shared dreams. All of a sudden, people all over town started having these incredibly vivid, totally impossible dreams. But here's the kicker, they were shared. Different people were dreaming about the same surreal places, meeting the same figures that felt familiar and strange all at once. It was like something was connecting them all on a subconscious level. And of course, this led to the big question. Were these dreams just glitches in the system? Random bugs in the code of their reality? Or were they something more? Were they put there on purpose, like pathways to understanding something much deeper, maybe left by whoever built their world? Well, this whole mystery kicked off a brand new kind of project. The community actually started to explore this collective unconscious. They began actively searching for meaning inside this shared dream world. And what's cool is they tackled it from a couple of different angles. You had an artist, Anya, who started painting and sculpting the surreal symbols from the dreams, trying to give them a physical form. And at the same time, Stephen was getting people together, taking a more analytical approach, trying to find common patterns. It really felt like the simulation's collective mind was trying to tell them something.
And in all of this searching, one symbol just kept showing up again and again in pretty much everyone's dreams. This huge, complex network of interconnected points, all of them pulsing with light. It was this powerful, recurring image they couldn't ignore.
So what did it mean? Well, a few big theories started to pop up. Was it the code? Were they literally getting a peek at the programming of their world? Or maybe it was a map of their own collective consciousness, their shared thoughts laid bare. Or, and this is what Stephen was leaning towards, was it a profound reminder that they were all connected, all part of something much, much bigger? All this searching, all this teamwork, it led Stephen to a truly paradigm-shifting idea. He called it the co-creation revelation. He nailed it down as the co-creation theory. And here's the most important part. The simulation isn't some static, pre-written program that just runs on a loop. No way. It's a dynamic, living system that actually evolves based on how the people inside it observe and interact with it. Their thoughts, their explorations, they were actively shaping what came next. And Stephen posed this new question that just changed the whole game. What if our collective consciousness are themselves part of the architect's grand and unfolding plan? Suddenly, the focus wasn't just on trying to figure out the plan, it was about realizing they were part of writing it. The implication was just huge. It meant they weren't just living in the architect's design, they were living with it, contributing to it, weaving their own threads into this ever-changing tapestry. This realization changed everything. They started to see themselves as authors of their own story. It was the dawn of a whole new kind of agency. The transformation was just incredible. They went from being passive residents to being active participants. They understood that what they saw and how they explored their world was literally shaping that world. With that knowledge, they suddenly had a level of control, of agency, that they had never even dreamed of. I think the ultimate takeaway here is a really beautiful one. The architect's design wasn't some finished book that they were just reading. No, it was a story that was still being written. And they had just picked up the pen. And that brings us right back to where we started, but now the question feels different, doesn't it? If you discovered that you were an author of your own reality,
What would you write next?